You get in life who you are being, how you are thinking, feeling, and acting. You get the direct reflection of how you're showing up because that is the law of reflection. And the more you keep getting a certain reality reflected back to you, the more you start to buy into it because you pay attention to it. So in this video, I'm going to break down a little bit of confidence, how to shift your reality, and get you motivated so that way you can understand where you pay your attention to. You're paying your energy and focus into that, like a cashier taking some of your money, right? And then you're buying into that reality. So then it solidifies and validates that that is the version of you. And then you start associating that I am this. And the only way to break free from that is you start having all these beliefs that you need to do all this work or all this effort, or you need a certain accomplishment or a reason to shift to being a different version of you. Every moment is a new moment. You can take the quantum leap now. You can shift and start being the version of you that has the stuff that you want, and watch as you move up the ladder, taking action as that version to get to that place. You get to fall in love with the gap because it's your point A to point B destination. As soon as you want something, the manifestation is 99.9% done. You're the only missing piece. You're not a vibrational match to it. And to manifest anything, what that means is becoming a vibrational match to that thing. Then it manifests. Manifestation means that it becomes visible in your reality once you tune your frequency to it. So it's not just going out thinking, oh, I'm going to start handing everybody, all people like millions of dollars for no reason because I'm some trillionaire, right? You're probably not going to do that as a trillionaire anyway. Because by that point, you'll probably realize like you want to put your money in and invest in things that'll actually help shift people, not enable them to continue living a life when they're not motivated, when they're not highly motivated to shift. Because by that point, you've walked through it. You've been through the point A to point B gap. And it'll feel natural. So what that means is if you already believe that you're not a confident individual, well, guess what? You're confident in that. If you believe that all women or all men suck because of all the relationships that you've had, well, you're going to fall into the expectation effect, and you're going to expect and believe that you can't trust people because you've been hurt in the past. And guess what? You're trusting in that. You're the one trusting in that belief. And then you're going to self-sabotage yourself because you're going to add a layer of protection, which is your ego, the past version of you that has been hurt. And that ego is always trying to keep you safe so you don't get hurt again. And that's why you get to experience an ego death or an ego evolution and emerge knowing that you don't want to be this version of you anymore, and it's time to start shifting your reality. It's just like tuning a radio dial. So join me, Ventzi, your divine feminine empowerment and spiritual awakening coach, as I move you from the fear and blocks that you have in your life that stop you from living your fullest expression to the freedom of doing so, from fog to clarity, from trauma to transcendence, as you fall completely in love with your life. And like all good coaches, we're going to go ahead and have a coffee together while I give you a shove so you can fall in love with yourself. Let's get it. So, couple things. Number one, we have the expectation effect. What you start expecting is what's going to be reflected to you. Law of attraction is going to bring that because you're expecting it already. It's in your thoughts. You're thinking about it. And thoughts are more like subconscious beliefs, things that are already programmed into you from past experience. They're kind of innate. Thinking is a active form, like the verb, like you're doing. I hope verb is, yeah, I think verb is doing, taking action, right? You're taking deliberate action in your thinking. Like you're thinking, and then they become thoughts, and they become subconscious, something that you buy into, a belief. So that's why it's becoming a deliberate creator, is realizing what thoughts you have about your reality already and how you can make the shift. And yeah, you're gonna have to use some energy and think deliberately to start shifting those beliefs. Because if all men and women suck, and you're going into the expectation already looking for red flags, well, guess where you're focused on? You're looking for red flags. You're looking for signs on the road that you're not even seeing, and then sometimes you just believe there's already a sign before you even see it, or you see a sign and you read it wrong. Instead of it, you just assumed and expected it to say dead end, and it really said, hey, this person has a deeper sense of meaningfulness in their reality. They're different than everybody else. So maybe you do have to go into a little bit more of a deeper relationship with them and get to know them on a vulnerable level. Except if you think it's just a dead end, you're just going to give up. And maybe part of it is that you're not being vulnerable enough. Maybe you're not allowing that deepening of connection and communication between that person and you, because you're already assuming it's a dead end. You're expecting it to be a dead end. And you're associating all your negative past feelings and adding that protection layer. You're allowing your ego to take over. Because if it doesn't check off all your boxes of safety and it's going to be perfect, well, then you're not even living life at that point. So it's stepping into the belief that you are, a lot. It's really stepping into the belief that I am attracting loving people. I am someone who allows myself to experience deep and meaningful connections. I am willing to experience someone, just as an example in relationships, and on dates. I'm willing to experience this date so I can see contrast, so I can further my expansion in what I really want and what I don't want. And if you stop yourself, you're not going to see that happen. So again, thinking and expecting things to happen as a result is just, you're going to already self-sabotage yourself. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter how you end up showing up. What matters is that you show up to your fullest expression. So you can honor yourself and your voice and your vulnerability and your emotions. It doesn't matter if it's on a date or not. Like, quit hiding behind who you are, because you will then attract people who will never actually love you for who you are. You'll pretend and put on this facade that you're this version because you want them to like you. Say you are on a date, and I've met women like that. They put on these facades. They start acting in ways that they think I want them to be, and it's like, no. I had one wonderful, beautiful woman. She did have some interesting behaviors. That relationship didn't work out, and I did express vulnerably how I was feeling with certain things, and I set proper boundaries because I learned to do it from a previous relationship where this other woman was very not healthy for me. And through that, though, I learned how to express myself and set boundaries, because I realized I was also a people pleaser, seeking validation and approval from others, right? So people pleasers also have a deep hidden agenda, which is, I do this for you, then I'm going to be worthy. No longer that. And I learned from all that, right? Anyway, this relationship, I set proper boundaries. I showed up fully. And I also noticed, like, I get it. I told you who my favorite artist is. And if we're gonna go go to the mall or something, this actually did happen. We did go to the mall, and she picked me up, and she just played my favorite artist the whole way there. And I was like digging it because I'm like, I do like this, and I felt it was a little weird. It's like, you don't really like this artist, and it's like, why are you doing this? It's like, I don't mind. I'm gonna be in for the ride. I'm gonna allow the spoiling. I don't mind, right? However, I found it just a little strange because it's like, I like all kinds of music, you know. But it's like, if you're gonna play my music for me, like, I appreciate that, but it was just a little. It felt weird, right? And it felt like they were trying to get me to like them more. So it was an interesting thing. Anyway, I set proper boundaries with this person, and I ended up avoiding possibly a dumpster fire relationship with them because of the previous one. Because they ended up overstepping some boundaries. I re-expressed them, I explained them, and reinforced them a couple times. And then I realized, hey, we've had this conversation. It's not going to work out. This is not what I prefer in my reality. I'm really grateful to have had you in my experience. And, I wish you the best. I really do wish people the best. And I've reached a place of unconditional love for anything of the past. Damn, these coffee sessions always getting a little wild. To where it's like, I want people to have the best life they can. Because part of all the stuff, even if they did something bad to you, doesn't make anything that they did right. It's easier to forgive them because you realize people aren't always acting at the highest level of consciousness because they're just not there yet. We can't blame a kindergartner for pushing another kindergartner. It's like, they're just kids. They don't know better yet, right? And here's the thing though, eventually people have to walk through that fire, and they have to look at their own shadow if they want to heal, because they have to look and realize how they treated others. And that fire sometimes burns. And if they ever do want to make that shift, they will have to look at it and call it karma, which is really just the law of reflection, which is synchronicity. It's a reflection of who you are showing up as. They're going to keep getting reflections of that. Like, that's what karma is. It's just a reflection of who you are showing up as, and you're getting a reflection of that completely to you. Meaning that same person is probably not having a good life, and that reflection is an opening. It's an option. It says, hey, do you really want to continue being this version of you? Do you want to shift? Or are you going to start buying into the belief that, and the expectation that everything sucks, so it's a cold world and you need to be colder? Because if life is just a reflection in the mirror, if you're frowning in the mirror, that frown is not going to turn upside down until you do, until you make the shift. So you have to shift from within and then watch your reality change. And a lot of that has to come with the beliefs and starting to shift to being a confident person. And here's the thing, it's like, you get to show up how you want. Because guess what? I know I would much rather show up putting in an enticing, enthralling amount of passion coming from my heart, putting in, and knowing that I showed up, putting in some effort. Yeah, it may have been scary to put myself out there. I may had to go over some fears, and you know what? I stepped through the courage to do it. I'm gonna celebrate that, and I'd rather show up to the fullest expression of myself than to show up as someone that wants people to like me. Because if I do that and I'm molding for other people, who the heck's gonna ever know or get to know and love the real me? Heck, apparently, I wouldn't even love the real me. Because I would be masking that version. I would be masking it because I would believe that I'm not worthy. That I'm not worthy of showing up as the real me. And last night, I don't know if it's this 8/8 portal. It's August 9th now that I'm making this video. I am like 15 videos ahead. Well, 14 videos ahead right now in all my content. And last night I had one of my exes who, in a dream, okay, I don't want to get too crazy about the dream. It was weird though, because we were hanging out like friends and just having fun, and like it was weird because after that relationship ended, like I had a huge worthiness wound. And then this other wonderful woman, like we went to her place, which was even weirder. And like me and this other woman really kind of like each other that I also felt unworthy of because she had a level of financial abundance that like I didn't feel like I can keep up with up until now. So, which is weird that I went to both, like they were both hanging out. It got really kind of weird and awkward. And like what it made me realize in the dream is I held a lot of unworthiness and I believed that I was not worthy. And then earlier today, this freaking, I'm scrolling through some of the feed to get like off Facebook or YouTube to get some inspiration for this video. And what's funny is like there was this cute dog sitting on a McLaren, and the guy was just like, "Oh, are you on the McLaren today?" To the dog, and the dog's wagging its tail, and it's like, "This is where you're choosing to sit?" And like, it's so heartfelt because he didn't even care that the dog was sitting on the McLaren. And then it was so nice to see that, like, on the comments, it's like no amount of material possessions can afford like life, any life. So it was so enticing and inspiring. Enticing is probably not the right word. Maybe it was motivational because I realized I just had this dream where I felt this worthiness wound in my past from these two people because I felt I wasn't worthy. So I added awareness to it and let go of that worthiness wound. As I have been, I've stepped into a huge realization that everybody's just worthy just for being. Like if your friend ends up being at the hospital and it's like they got a few days to live, you're not gonna care about like what they can do for you or anything like that. You're just gonna be like, they're just worthy just for being there, and you're gonna show up because they're your friend and they're worthy, even though they can't do anything for you. They can't go and do stuff with you. Like they're just worthy for being who they are. Just like a baby when they're born, they're born worthy. You start picking up all these human baggage stuff as you expand your consciousness and finally become conscious. And there's literal classes on how to like not be worthy. Like in the world, like how to not be confident. Like you experience someone treat you bad, oh, now you're not worthy. It's not true. They didn't know how to love you and they're not acting at the highest level of consciousness they could be. How are you going to alchemize that? It's always how will you alchemize this event? And again, part of this, I had my realization because I've been stepping into the power of I am. And realizing that is like you don't need a reason to be worthy. You don't need a reason to say you are anything. Once you say it, once you say I am it, you are it. The moment you add a reason to something is adding a cap, a limiting belief. Now you have to be this only because of this. And what do you think it's going to do to everything else that you want to be and become? So if you want to attract and be the version of you that you want to be, you have to realize you just start being it. That's why meditation is so good, so you can envision that version of you, adopt the feelings of what it's like to be there, not like get super excited about the Ferrari you're going to have or the mansion and, oh, it feels so great. No, like 10 years later, it feels neutral, natural. You're not swinging a pendulum either way where it feels so great or your life sucks. It's just a neutral thing. Nothing has an inherent meaning except the meaning which you give it. So having the feelings of what that's like, you just adopt the feelings like, all right, well, where else am I heading? So you take the vision past the vision and you start looking at that point B. And now that you've shot for the moon, you're aiming for the stars. Now that you're at the moon, you're aiming for the stars. So as long as you can aim from the stars, knowing that you're already at the moon, you're going to get to the moon so much faster than just aiming for the sky. And maybe you'll get to the moon. That exact saying helped me shift from, and when I was 18 to like 22, when I was working for LA Fitness as a personal training director. Well, before that, I was a personal training counselor and then assistant, and then I got promoted. And I got promoted at 18, which is, I think I was the youngest personal training director ever promoted in that company. And I did that, and I excelled really quickly, and I got really good at sales, and I was in the top of it, not to like boast my own boat here, float my own boat too much, toot my own horn. However, I did really, really well. And part of that, though, is that exact quote is, don't just aim for the sky, aim for the moon. And know that you're at the moon, well, this part I'm adding, and shoot for the stars. Like, don't just aim for the sky, aim for the moon. And don't stop there, go for the stars. And that's what happened. I literally shot all the way to the stars in that company. And I got really, really good at it. Except I actually had to embody the version of me, what it's like to be a personal training director. And when my personal training director went on a vacation for a week, I sold $20,000 worth of personal training that week. And next day he got back, I got promoted. And I had my own club. So shoot for the stars. Envision what it's like to have the thing and then move from there. Still getting over this like cold or whatever. So let me know how this helped you. It's a motivational sesh. I hope you have a wonderful, magnificent, transformative, alchemizing day. Beautiful cosmic soul. Oh, and yeah, anyway, I worked through my own worthiness wound. I realized that I am powerful. I am worthy just for being me. And that's what the uniqueness is about. Like, you're just worthy for being you, and you're unique. No one else is ever going to be you. So, aim for the stars. Know what it's like to be at the moon. Envision it, embody it. Be that version of you now, and just take action. And watch your reality shift. Because when my personal training director left for a week, I was acting PTD is what they called it. Acting, personal training director. And I was acting it. I was acting the role so much that I got actually promoted to it. So you literally just act as if you already are. Except you have to do the inner work and let go of the blocks and the fears that stop you. Which is part of like, oh, you might be called delusional. However, no, you're highly motivated. It's different than like the delusion of grandeur. You're highly motivated. You're moving in that direction. You're constantly learning how to get there, and you release attachment to the outcome because you truly believe that you're already there, and you've adopted the actions, behaviors, and you're sharpening your skills to that version of you, and you just keep moving in that direction, and you don't let, oh, you're not there yet, stop you. That's the real trick. You have to take consistent action, whether if it's perfectly in alignment with that version or not. You just keep doing it, and then you watch your reality shift. It's the quantum leap. Okay. All right, let me know how this helped you. I hope this did. This one got real rambly and wild. So have a wonderful, magnificent, transformative, alchemizing day. Beautiful cosmic soul. Love and light vibration out.